Nicola Sturgeon's approach to the coronavirus crisis in Scottish care homes has been labelled an outrage by the leader of the Scottish Conservative Party. Jackson Carlo fired the dig at the SNP leader during the opening exchanges at First Minister's questions. Nicola Sturgeon stated that the situation in care homes in Scotland, the UK and globally has been one of the most distressing factors in the COVID-19 coronavirus crisis. Mr. Carlo said, "There was a harrowing report where we heard from carers at the Highgate Care Home in Uddingston. 22 residents have tragically died since the start of this outbreak, one a day at its peak. Yet these carers said that still the majority of them have not been tested. First Minister, that is an outrage, isn't it?" Ms. Sturgeon replied, "Testing in care homes has been driven by clinical advice. In recent weeks we have increased testing in care homes. In care homes where there is an outbreak we now have testing of all residents and staff whether they are symptomatic of the virus. Those efforts both in testing and infection control are driven by the directions of public health directors." Scotland's First Minister added, "The situation in care homes not just in Scotland but UK-wide and globally has been one of the most distressing factors of a very distressing situation." Yesterday Ms. Sturgeon was grilled on the failures of the SNP during the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic at her daily press conference. Scotland's First Minister was quizzed on whether she regretted not putting the country into lockdown sooner. The BBC's Andrew Kerr said, "We have spoken about the death of 3 grandparents in the same family within a month and that should make us reflect and listen to the advice on lockdown." Given the outbreak started at a family party held in early March when government advice was still to go about our business as usual, has it given new reasons to reflect on the scientific advice you were receiving about lockdown? Did you have the power to lock down earlier? Ms. Sturgeon responded, "I think everybody should take it as read that on a daily basis I question the decisions we are taking and give a lot of thought to the decision we take. I am anxious that we get those decisions as right as possible. I don't have the benefit of 20/20 hindsight and I reflect that in the last few days alone I have been asked to comment on experts' opinions at opposite ends of the spectrum. Today I have been asked to comment on expert opinion saying if we had locked down earlier things would have been different. A couple of days ago I was asked to comment on an expert opinion that said there is no point at all in having a lockdown because it just delays the inevitable. I have to make the best decisions based on the evidence that we have at the time.